Hey, welcome to another video and thanks for clicking on this one. In this video, I want to share with you I would say probably seven actually, lessons that immigrants learn too late. And when I say lessons, these are lessons that are in regards to finances. And the reason why this is important is because if we don't take these lessons to heart early on, we will spend more time working, we will spend more time trying to catch up, and we may never have that time. Where's all of this coming from? This is coming from my own experience talking to people who are immigrants, who've spent a lot of time abroad. And the best thing you can do is to learn from those who are ahead of you or who've been there before you, and take their lessons to heart. And that's what I try to implement in my life, and take their advice, their lessons, their mistakes, and apply them. And that's one of the reasons why I have this channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back. One, I would say please subscribe. Two, I would say please drop a like on the video. Now let's get to the first thing. The first thing that is important that we need to remember is that as immigrants, we don't have people who would put us in the game early on. And when I say the game, what do I mean? So growing up in Nigeria, there's nothing like credit. Well, maybe now I think there's some places you can get credit, microfinance banks and things like that from the bank. But we know that we don't have what they call a credit score or credit history. And I believe that Nigeria is growing in that way, but in major parts of Africa, we don't have anything like that, which means that our ability to access money for investments, access money to buy a house, just to make big purchases is limited, which then forces us to be very conscious about saving, which leads to another mistake, but I'm going to cover the first one. Let's talk about credit history. When you are, let's say in the US, UK, Canada, Australia, all these places, they have credit system. And in the US particularly, which is one I can attest to, is I was very, I would say I was very hesitant on getting a credit card to then have a credit history. I was of the opinion that, you know what, I can always save up my money and then buy what I can afford. And in as much as that's a good thing, the problem is that with the way the system works, if you do not integrate yourself and have some form of credit history, you're putting yourself behind, and it will take you a long time to achieve some financial milestones or just some life milestones, like buying a house. Think about it. To buy an average house nowadays, you're looking at $400,000. If you're trying to save up $400,000, depending on what your income is, it might take a long time, which means by the time you finally save up that money, the house that you want to buy for $400,000 is now $500,000. So you always be behind. And guess what? Your money keeps losing value. So you're putting this money into a savings account, trying to catch up to this asset that keeps appreciating. And your money keeps losing value. So you're losing in two ways. One, you're losing to inflation, but two, you're also losing because the assets keeps going up in value. So you're trying to chase this thing down. And that's one of the things that, having a credit gets you ASAP. It comes at a cost. It comes at a cost because when you borrow money, you would have to pay interest. But one thing to remember is that I believe if you buy something that is well within your means, you can speed up the payment process. You borrow the money, but you speed up the payment process, and then it won't take you as long as it would have taken you to save up the money, one, but then two, the time to repay the loan that you borrowed, you can actually cut it in half or even in a quarter, depending on how well you structure it. So that is the number one thing. Not building credit as soon as possible will set you back a long time. And the second thing to that is, remember I talked about savings? When you people try to save, we want to save for something because you don't want to take loans. Good. Where are we putting our money? A lot of times when we come in as immigrants, we go to the banks that we know of, or the person that we are in close contact to tells us about. So for example, Chase is a big bank. We have Bank of America. We have Wells Fargo, all these big banks. Nothing wrong with them, But there's one problem though. When you want to save money, these are not the places you want to save money. Why? Because you are not getting anything in return. Think about it. You go to these banks, you want to get let's say you want to borrow money from them, maybe through a credit card. So you get a credit card, they give you $10,000 limit or $5,000 limit. The problem with that is the interest they charge you on those credit cards can be anywhere from 20 to 29%. Okay, APY, annual percentage yield. And that means that if you default on paying your dues or whatever you owe for the period, they will charge you 29%. Okay, now, yes, you can look at it as it's just 29%, but think about it. If this is something that you're not paying off, if it is a credit card you're not paying off every single month, that 29% slowly adds up, builds up. In the whole year, you have a huge amount of money, and they're charging you 29% on it. So that is the issue with these banks. The issue there is when you save with them, right? When you save with them, they are going to only pay you about 0.01% for your money, but they can lend out your money to other people and they can charge them 29% or 20%. So at the end of the day, you're putting all your added money into these banks, but they're only giving you back 0.01%. And that's why we need to change that. We need to change that. A lot of times we want to put our banks in one place, have our credit card with the bank, have our loans with the bank, have our house with the bank, mortgage in this case, have our investments with one place. But the problem with that is you're not taking advantage of other opportunities that are being provided by other institutions, especially when it comes to things like your savings. So have you thought about putting your money into a high yield savings account? If you haven't heard about those, look them up. High yield savings account. They have them from different banks like Ally Bank. You have Marcus by Goldman Sachs. You have PayPal actually pays something better as well. Yeah, different banks, like institutions. All these institutions that are out there, most of the time, those that will pay a higher interest for the money you save are generally online. So that is the thing, which means that if you can open an account online with these banks, you would have to transfer money to this account that you open, and then you can start to get that higher interest. But it pays off, because if you have 10,000 and these banks are paying you 4% or so, you're way better or way ahead than when your money is with the bank that is paying you 0.01%. So that is something that you want to keep in mind. The third thing that I'm going to share with you is, yes, we save money so that we can buy something that we want or that we need. But how about living within our means? A lot of times, because we have access to these loans, or like I said, you build your credit and now you can borrow money that may put you in a position where you may not be able to truly afford. Because guess what? The bank only cares if they believe they can get their money back. If they don't think they can get their money back, they will still lend you the money. They just have to charge you higher interest for most part. And the problem with that is that interest they charge is literally money that we end up giving to the banks every single month. So what do? We want to make sure that whatever we are buying are things that we are able to afford, truly afford. And because of the fourth mistake, which I'm going to cover next, we fail to account for taxes, which is that fourth thing. But let's talk about our take home. Let's talk about this scenario. A lot of times, if you want to buy a house, the bank will tell you how much do you earn. So let's say you earn 200,000, or let's say 400,000, whatever the amount is, okay, or 100,000. A lot of times we state that amount without thinking, how much do we actually take home? How much do we actually take home after taxes and deductions and all the things that we pay for? How much do you actually take home? Because if you make about 100,000, well, roughly you can say about $22,000 to $24,000 of that amount is already given to taxes. So at the end of the day, you're probably just making about 77,000, 78,000 take home. So yes, you might be looking at whatever you want to buy with a $100,000 income, but in reality, you can only afford that thing with about 70,000, 75,000, 77,000, somewhere there. because that is what you actually take home. And that doesn't account for all the other bills that you have or the other taxes you pay, whether it's gas, road, insurance, all this other stuff that we pay for from whatever we take home. So figuring out or learning early on that, yes, you might be making 200,000, but that doesn't mean that you should go buy something worth 200,000 will be a very powerful thing as you make decisions along the way. Because if you go to the bank will look at, will ask you these questions based on your, not your net income, but rather your gross income. And the gross income is pretty much all that you make before taxes are taken out. So if you do not pay attention, the bank will tell you, oh, you can afford a house that is $500,000, when in reality, you can comfortably afford a $350,000 home. But the bank maxes you out because that's the way they can get the most return from their money. The more money they lend out, the more they can make back in interest. It's as simple as that. Yes, it's more risk, but guess what? When it comes to a house, it's backed by the asset. So they can always come back to take back the assets if the person defaults. And that is the thing that we need to be careful about as immigrants, because at the end of the day, if you do not keep in mind how much you actually earn in terms of your net income, you could put yourself in a situation where you are buying something you can truly afford. Next thing, remember I mentioned taxes. Your taxes is one of the ways that definitely can screw us up, right? If we don't understand it. Now, I don't understand taxes up until, like a tax advisor would, right? Or somebody who works with IRS, for example. But having a good understanding of how it works and how you can save on taxes can help you. So, for example, if you are somebody who has a retirement account, paying some of your contributions early before the taxes are taken out can save you taxes down the line, or at least currently. On the other hand, if you're somebody who prefers to pay taxes now, maybe a Roth retirement account is something that you'd go for, where you pay taxes now and then you contribute into an account that you don't have to pay taxes again in the future. That is one thing. But then the other thing is, what tax brackets do you fall into, right? As we know, we have the progressive tax system, and understanding, okay, how making more or reducing how much you earn or working around how your finances are structured can help you maybe save on taxes. Okay. And then the other thing also is, how do you maximize your returns if you're going to file for taxes? These are things that it does take a lot of effort, and you have to be intentional about it. But if you don't understand it, you're likely leaving a lot of money on the table, or you're likely giving a lot of money away. And you have to pay taxes, no doubt. Everybody will have to pay taxes to an extent. But there are ways in which you can minimize what is being paid, maximize what is being retained, and make the system work for you, because it's legal to do those things if you set up the right systems. Okay. The next one is, which is going to be my fifth one, is to understand the purpose of insurance in everything you do. Okay. Your insurance protects you from certain things, whether it's a life insurance, whether it's a disability insurance, whether it's a car insurance, whether it's house, whatever that may be, right? You have to understand how the insurance system works, because this would help you either save money or keep more money. Because there are times when, let's give you an example. If you have two cars, you may not need to have a full coverage on both cars, because maybe one car is something that you drive, you drive one most of the time, and then the other car you barely drive it because it's a car that you don't really drive, or maybe it's a car that is old, or maybe it's really new and you want to keep, right? The point here is figuring out how your insurance can be maximized in terms of for the times in case something happens, but at the same time paying the least amount for the best coverage. Right, goes a long way, which may mean you have to shop around, looking around, being able to switch when you feel like one is ripping you off. All those factors needs to be considered. But again, all of this takes being intentional about the process. Now, the last but not least is not starting early savings for retirement. Remember what I said earlier on, that a lot of times we realize that maybe it's too late about something and we now try to catch up on the process. The reality is that if we don't start early for saving for retirement, what will happen is that we want to then double up later in life, which, as we know, any investment requires time to really grow. And if we are not spending the early days saving, so that time actually just does its magic over time, or over the years, over the decades, then what will happen is that we will have less time to really let compound interest work. And that is why it is essential that we start as soon as possible, because that's the only way we can let compound interest do its thing. If you have found value in this one, please don't forget to drop a like on the video. Start to share this with the family. See you next time.